Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to another Magic Arena Explorer video. So today we are back with some Mono Green Devotion. So this deck has had a couple of new cards which I think are worth trying in it, which kind of add to the overall high power level of it. And a lot of these cards are up near the top end, so you'll recognise a lot of the kind of bottom end of the deck is pretty familiar, but then we've kind of been playing around with some of the finishers and the powerful cards that we can cast with all of the mana that we generate in this deck. So just talking through them, so we have 3 copies of Vaultborn Tyrant. So this is a new card from the big score. So 7 mana for a 6/6 trample. When it or another creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 3 life and draw a card. And when it dies, if it's not a token, you create a token that's a copy of it, except as an artifact in addition to its other types. So it's pretty impactful on the board. It immediately gains your life and draws you a card. It then gives you additional value if you play other big creatures, sort of in the same way that Kiora does. But also, if the opponent doesn't kills it in a conventional way, you just get another copy of it. So it's quite hard to get rid of without kind of exile-based removal. So yeah, very powerful card. Then we have Goldvein Hydra, which is from the main set. So it's X and a green for a 0/0 Vigilance Trample Haste. Enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. And when it dies, create a number of tapped treasure tokens equal to its power. So it's got a kind of Lair of the Hydra style effect going on. It's kind of like a beefed up version of that. Comes with all of its +1/+1 counters. Obviously, it has Trample as well, which the Lair doesn't, so it helps punch through the opponent's creatures, particularly if you kind of sink 12, 15 mana into this in the late game. And then, yeah, just generates a whole load more mana when it dies. So we're just running the 1 copy of that, as we don't want too many of them just hanging around. And then we have 2 copies of Smuggler's Surprise. So this is a spree card, so although it's in 1 mana slot, it doesn't cost that much. More often than not, we're kind of looking at the 6 mana mode here. But for 1 green plus 2 additional mana, you mill 4 cards and put up to 2 creatures and or land cards from among the mill cards into your hand, so kind of draw 2 ability. Pay 6, 4 and a green more, and you can put up to 2 creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield, and pay 1 more, and creatures you control with power 4 or greater gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. So at instant speed for 6 mana, depending on what we've got in our hand, we could put out a Vaultborn Tyrant and a Cavalier of Thorns or a Cityscape Leveler. So yeah, this can surprise the opponent, as is suggested by the title of the card, out of nowhere, and just kind of put a lot of power on the board. And then if we can sink lots and lots of mana into it, then we can use all of its modes, protect the creatures we've just played, and potentially get more of them into our hand before we play them. Yeah, there's just a lot of power in this card, so we'll see how that does. And casting it for 3 mana in the early game is not the worst if we just need to kind of stock up our hand a little bit more. So those are the new cards. In terms of cards that you'll recognise from previous Mono Green Devotion decks, obviously we're running the full 4 Elvish Mystic and Llanowar Elves. Wolf Willowhaven is our other ramp spell, so enchanted land taps for an additional green. Often we will want to target basic lands with this to avoid things like Field of Ruin. Invasion of Ixalan, so this is a battle which lets us look at the top 5 cards of our library, put a permanent from among them into our hand, and then later we can turn it into the Belligerent Regisaur. That's a 4/3 trample that's quite hard to get rid of. Then our 3 drops, we have our 3 green pip creatures with 4 copies of Old Growth Troll, 1 copy of Pelucranos, 4 Kiora Behemoth Beckoner, so one of the great enablers of the deck, not only allowing us to untap our Nykthoses and other things, but also generating card advantage in the similar way to the way Vaultborn Tyrant does, whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under our control. Then we're running 3 Archdruid's Charms in the main deck, so this is not only a very good way of going to fetch a land like Nykthos or Sunken Citadel or whatever it is we may want, but is also quite a good removal spell for various things, so can bite down an opponent's creature, or can exile an artifact or enchantment, so very versatile for 3 green mana. 4 copies of Cavalier of Thorns, that's our 5 drop, one of the best cards in the deck, 5/6 with reach, ramps us when it enters the battlefield and can recur one of our cards from our graveyard when it dies. And then all of our finishers that I've talked about, so the 3 Vaultborn Tyrants, the Goldvein Hydra, and then we're running 1 Cityscape Leveler in the main deck as well. 8/8 for 8 with trample. When you cast the spell, and whenever it attacks, you can destroy up to one target non-land permanent, and then we can unearth it for 8 generic mana as well, so get a second bite of the cherry, as it were. Second bite of the cherry, or is it apple? I can never remember. Then mana base, so we're running 22 lands, so a few less than normal for a deck that is as mana hungry as this, but you have to remember we have like 8 mana producing elves, we have Wolf Willowhaven, we have Invasion of Ixalan to go and get us more lands, so there's a lot more redundant mana in the deck than it looks like. 2 Sunken Citadels and 4 Nykthoses. These combine very well together, as it does with Castle Garenbrig as well. You can activate the Castle Garenbrig on turn 4 when you have a Sunken Citadel, so potentially generating 6 mana on turn 4. Beseiju, who endures, and then a couple of Lair of the Hydras as well. Had a fair few basic lands, obviously, being a mono-green deck. So that's the main deck. In the sideboard, we have Ahei Wiremight. So this is not only good for some incidental life gain, but can take out difficult non-creature artifacts or enchantments. Pick your poison, strong answer to cards like Vein Ripper or Fable of the Mirrorbreaker. Damping Sphere, which we can sometimes bring in, although obviously it's a bit of a nombo with Nykthos. If the opponent's trying to go off with Lotus Fields or cast lots of different spells in one turn with a deck like Phoenix, then we might want to consider bringing in Damping Sphere, as much as it might slow us down as well. 3 copies of the Stone Brain, so this used to be a favourite card from the sideboard that you would fetch with Karn. Obviously Karn is now banned, but we can still bring in the Stone Brain if we need to scalp all particular cards from the opponent's deck. Unlicensed Hearse, targeted Graveyard Hate. Another Archdruid's Charm, so we can bring that in if we particularly want its removal modes, or to just search for the cards we want, if we're looking at a slightly slower matchup perhaps. Then some more finishers, so 2 copies of Tyrannix Rex, so this is particularly good against control decks as it can't be countered and it has a ward of 4, and then 1 Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger as well. Not ideal kind of combined with Smuggler's Surprise, because you don't get the cast trigger, but obviously getting Ulamog into play for much less than 10 mana is probably good enough by itself that you don't need to take advantage of exiling the 2 permanents. It will very quickly close out the game by itself. So that is the deck, Mono Green Devotion. Some new cards to showcase, so we'll see how those do. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. As ever, hit those like and subscribe buttons. You always know I'm going to say it, but I always appreciate the support. And yeah, let's go on to the ladder. This is a mulligan. This isn't a great hand either, but I'm going to keep it. Okay, so it's Rakdos Waste Not we're facing here, so I'll just pass the turn. Let's go grab Nykthos. Take down their Fable token. No discards. Well, that's bad news, isn't it? It's interesting. Right. Invasion of Ixalan. Grab a troll. Play a troll. Well, they better hope for a discard spell or this Vaultborn Tyrant's coming into play. Cool. Okay, that's a decent answer to it, but I do get the card value off it. Okay, so they're out of cards. Cast this. Far off our Wolf Willow Haven. Fine. Not super relevant here. Cool. Okay, we're recovered from a bit of a stumbly opening there. So, for getting rid of Waste Knots and their various strategies, I like Haywire Might and I like Pick Your Poison. Archdruid's Charm as well. I don't think I need the Stone Brain at this point, but I could bring that in on the play if we go to a game. 3. Smuggler's Surprise, I feel like is going to be a dead card quite a lot of the time. So let's get rid of that. So we know they have blot outs. Let's trim one Vaultborn. Couple of old growth trolls. And go from there, I think. It's a reasonable hand. It's not an amazing hand. Okay, they have no immediate hand disruptions, so that's good news. Let's start with Invasion of Ixalan. Take an old growth troll. Okay, let's ditch Tyrant and land here. Okay, that's a good draw, so let's get Cavalier into play. Have a Castle Garenbrig. Somewhat disappointing I haven't drawn any of my enchantment removal yet, but Cityscape Leveler will be coming next turn if they don't have any decent answers, which they don't, so... So, do we kill their Fable or their Waste Not? Now, how much mana can I produce here? So... So there's 6 here. 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, the perfect amount. So, Cityscape Leveler, destroying Fable, Old Growth Troll, attack the invasion of Ixalan. Could leave Waste Not now because I have no cards. So let's block their Fable. Okay, I kind of expected that. So let's take down Invasion, destroy Waste Not. Pay Pelucranos Reborn. So we've still got a pretty fearsome board here. Then if I don't have anything else to do next turn, I'll just flip Pelucranos. Not into a lot of open mana. Just turn our Hydra into a 3/3. Okay, that could always come back later. Well, it's a way to kill yourself, I suppose. Okay, good start. It's a little slow on the draw, but the opponent's on a mulligan, so... Okay, that's a very welcome draw, so it looks like some sort of Ensoul deck. Yep. Let's have the troll. That's fine, I can live with some damage coming through from Copter. That's interesting. Right, well... No point hanging around. Just play another troll. Then we've got Cavalier next turn, probably. It's interesting. It's not a bad one to get off the top. Okay, let's send in one of our trolls. Hold the other one back. Drop Cavalier into play. Well, if we can survive this coming turn, this Goldbane Hydra's going to be a heck of a thing. Yeah, well, they can only do a so they can do a 7 here, and they might have... Oh god, they could have Shrapnel Blast, couldn't they? So if I block, I go down to 7 Devotion. I think that's still enough. I don't like it, but I'm going to do it to avoid Shrapnel Blast. Let's just stick Forest on top just to give us some more mana. Actually, let's not, because we got a Forest in hand. So, 7 through Garenbrig is 9, 10, 11, 12. So let's make an 11-11 Hydra. And they're currently got 5 toughness on the battlefield, so this should be sufficient. Yep. Okay, I don't know whether that last card was Shrapnel Blast, but I think that was worth doing. I think it was worth hedging there. Haywire Might, pick your poison is great here, so is Archdruid's Charm. I feel like I keep taking out Smuggler's Surprise, but it is too slow in this kind of matchup. Let's ditch Vaultborn Tyrant as well. Yeah, if we get up to 7 mana, we've won the game already, if they haven't killed us by then. Yep, this will do. It's not a great hand, but can't afford to be fussy. Okay. Wolf Willowhaven on this forest. Let's make them sack an artifact. They can just get rid of their Darksteel Citadel here. Yep. Okay, better hope for something else. Okay, they're short of mana at least. Okay, Troll is something. So I could potentially double block their creature here. It's not net. Okay, well, can't afford to have that in damage range. I mean, I'm not technically dead yet, is the thing. Because they still... This is... Oh, I know they're not drawing a land, so I can chump their... Then if I draw like a Archdruid's Charm, I am back in it. Okay, Haywire Might, that's good, so we can play Haywire Might, sack it to exile the Ensoul artifact, gain 2 life, attack the Invasion of Ixalan, okay, we're not out of it. That is a land, but it's not a red land. Flip the Belligerent Regisaur, play another Troll. Close run thing. Very close. Okay. Have lethal or die. You only got 1 artifact to sacrifice. Yeah, see, I could have conceded earlier, but stuck around. Always worth playing it out till the end, and I don't always take that advice properly myself, but looks like it may well have paid off for us this time, so let's see. Okay. Nice. Gets us to 6, yeah. Whew. Good. Good, good, good. This is very reliant on our mystics surviving, so I'm going to do it. Rip. Okay. Lol, Thoughtseize bug. I mean, we nearly whiffed on land there. And at least we've cleared 5 things that aren't lands off the top of our library. So this is a very popular card that's doing the rounds. Interesting. Well, you don't Confidant if you want to.
Let's dive right into battle. Let's get moving.
Boo!
Now I'm salty.
Happy to help, but I'm taking the credit. You won't be outsmarting me.
Extremely boo.
I'm tired of your secrets.
Sure. Draw a card. It's not particularly appealing to me. Okay, let's... turn this layer of the Hydra into a creature. Attack Liliana.
Fine. I know when I'm not wanted.
Untap Vaultborn Tyrant. So a sort of Golgari midrange deck. I'm going to have to try this card now. I'm intrigued by it. Oh well, let's just keep doing our thing. Let's make it so it can kill both. I'm kind of fine with that because I get another one. Come on. Really? Don't be silly now. Good. That is better. So we draw 2. Keep playing creatures. Draw 3 cards here. At least it's life neutral. Tell you what, Vaultborn Tyrant is a good answer to the opponent having Shieldred. That much we know. Well, they're going as wide as possible on these old caustic wajamajiggers. So let's add 10 green mana. Play a troll. That gets indestructible. I draw 3. Smuggler's Surprise is going to come in handy at some point. Yep. Okay, we were popping off there in the most fun way possible. What do I want against them? Don't really need to do anything particularly differently, I don't think. I think the main deck's actually pretty well suited for this matchup. I could put in the Stone Brain, get rid of all their Shieldrids, for example. But if I put that in, what would I ditch? Charm? Charm's a reasonable answer to Shieldred anyway. No, let's run it back as it is for now. Yep, this will do. So let's put a Wolf Willow Haven on our land, play Invasion of Ixalan. So I already have a Nykthos, so let's just grab an Old Growth Troll, just have some more creatures. Ha! Lose a life. 1 whole life. Fail to see how he'll ever recover. So that's 6 mana to play Cavalier. And another elf. And another elf. Oh, I could do this all day. No attacks. We love to see it. Okay. Wolf Willow Haven. I am willing to offer the trade with their Preacher of the Schism here. Okay. I'll just dump my hand onto the field. Okay, that's a pretty good answer to what I've got going on. They can now analyse the pollen for anything they want. Ooh, what a draw. Nissa Vital Force.
I will
Return.
protect the virtue of this world. Harness the elements.
Dragons, leviathans, octopuses, serpents. Oh, I love them all.
Cool, I'll have another one. Okay, we're popping off again here.
What will happen now? I cannot protect you anymore. Life cannot be denied.
Okay, that's pretty snazzy. Right, so let's fire off an Archdruid's Charm. Grab Cityscape Leveler.
The ocean surges, life thrives.
Kill Shieldred. Oh, that's pretty fair. Yeah, very good. Yeah, Vaultborn Tyrant. What a house. What an absolute house of a card. So yeah, pretty strong performance from the deck there. Shame in some ways we didn't get to see Smuggler's Surprise do its thing, really. Most of the decks we were playing against were just a bit too quick. But Goldvein Hydra was good, Vaultborn Tyrant was amazing. So yeah, not bad at all. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. As ever, hit those like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time.